Hailey said, I love this album. I think you're so brave and so cool and so raw.
There's things that I can't change, Lord knows I tried. Oh, baby, we can leave it all behind.
All the same. And people need to hear that watching, you know what I mean? Like, someone's probably struggling with their own self-image of, like, am I ever gonna, you know, am I worthy of love? Like, and God says you are, you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't make the rules. Jesus says that, and I really believe him. You and Nick came to my birthday party and y'all were the only two dressed up.
Yo, they said, yo, he had a theme party. I'm only me.
But no one told me
that it was themed.
That it was themed. And so Kyle was like he was like telling everyone like, yo, Tay, make sure you're dressed up. And I didn't even dress up. No one dressed up. It was just him and Nick.
That's it.
And they both have like full wigs, full outfits, and everyone's there.
Everyone's like this.
When Justin Bieber first appeared live on Twitch, fans thought it was a prank. No flashy announcement, no press release. Just Justin sitting in front of a camera, chatting like an ordinary guy. He wasn't promoting a new album or teasing a collab. He was eating, strumming his guitar, and reading comments from random viewers in real time. For someone who spent years carefully guarding his personal life, this felt completely out of character. Within minutes, clips from the stream started circulating on TikTok and X. Viewers couldn't believe how different he seemed. Calmer, more genuine, even awkward at times. Some said it felt like watching an older version of the kid who used to post covers on YouTube before fame changed everything. Others wondered if something deeper was going on. Fans began speculating about why he'd suddenly decided to go live so often. Was it boredom, nostalgia, a way to reconnect with fans without the pressure of big stages and interviews? Or was it, as some people hinted, a quiet way to earn money while keeping things casual? Whatever his reason, it didn't take long for people to start overanalyzing every single thing he did on stream. Every pause, every look, every half sentence. And while some viewers just enjoyed seeing him relaxed and joking around, others were convinced that Justin's Twitch era was about to reveal much more than he intended. But the real shock came when he started talking about something no one expected: the birth of his son, and a moment in that delivery room that left fans stunned. Midway through one of his Twitch streams, Justin began telling a story that instantly caught everyone off guard. Out of nowhere, he started talking about the day his son Jack was born, and what should have been a touching memory turned into one of the most unexpected confessions he's ever shared publicly. He explained that during Hailey's labor, they had a doula, someone who helps mothers during childbirth in a calm, supportive way. But instead of easing tension, things got heated. Justin admitted he didn't get along with the doula at all. In his words, she was taking over his role and making him feel like a bystander during one of the most important moments of his life. The argument reached a point where he actually told the doula to get lost, right there in the delivery room. The chat exploded. Viewers couldn't believe he was saying all this live, completely unfiltered. Some laughed, others felt secondhand embarrassment, and a few questioned why he'd even share something so private. You could almost sense that Hailey probably wasn't thrilled hearing him tell the story to thousands of people online. He went on to say that after the confrontation, Hailey asked him to apologize because the tension was making the whole experience stressful. And he did, admitting that his emotions were running high and that he just wanted to be part of that special moment as a father. Still, fans couldn't stop talking about it. Some sympathized, saying it was understandable that Justin felt protective and emotional. Others pointed out that the doula was literally there to do her job, one Hailey had chosen and paid for. The way Justin shared it, raw, emotional, almost impulsive, gave fans a rare, unfiltered look into their relationship dynamics. That moment marked a turning point in his streams. It showed just how open he was willing to be. Maybe too open, but it also made people realize that this Twitch thing wasn't just casual fun anymore. Justin was letting the world in, one live at a time. And soon, he'd start touching on even more sensitive topics, including money, trust, and the people he believes took advantage of him. After that birth story went viral, Justin's streams started drawing even more attention, not just from fans, but from people trying to figure out why he was doing this in the first place. Sure, streaming looked fun, but many began asking the same question. Does Justin really need to be on Twitch? Or is there something else behind it? Rumors about his finances had already been circulating for months. Some blogs claimed he'd been struggling with his management team, firing several people after discovering money issues. Others hinted that millions had gone missing somewhere along the way, leading him to rebuild his entire business setup from scratch. It was all speculation, but fans couldn't ignore the timing. Justin suddenly being more visible, more talkative, and now streaming regularly. On one of his Twitch sessions, he indirectly addressed some of it. He talked about people in his life who had used him for money and how he'd finally learned to set boundaries. He never named names, but longtime fans immediately connected the dots. For over a decade, Justin's career had been tied to one person, Scooter Braun. Their partnership started when Justin was just a teenager posting covers online. Scooter was the one who discovered him, managed him, and shaped him into one of the biggest pop stars in the world. So, when news broke that they'd quietly parted ways, everyone knew something serious had gone down. That's why when Justin spoke about being stepped on by people who only cared about profits, fans couldn't help but think he was referring to that split. He said something that really stuck. "I got to a point where I realized it's not worth being stepped on just because someone's helping me make money." It was a simple line, but it hit hard. To his audience, it sounded like Justin wasn't just talking about business. He was talking about finally taking control of his life. After years of being pushed around by contracts, tours, and expectations, he was done letting others decide what he should do. Still, the money rumors didn't fade. Some claimed his sudden turn to streaming was an attempt to create a new income stream. One, that didn't rely on big tours or record labels. Others argued he just wanted a break, something easy and authentic after years in the spotlight. Whatever the reason, it was clear that Twitch wasn't just about casual fun anymore. It was about freedom, about Justin showing a version of himself that no label, manager, or PR team could edit. But even with all the talk about money and trust, one name kept coming up in every conversation, the man who had been by his side since the very beginning. The next part of his story made people question whether Justin and Scooter Braun's friendship had truly ended as peacefully as it seemed. For years, Justin and Scooter Braun were inseparable. Scooter wasn't just his manager, he was like family. He discovered Justin at 13, helped him rise from a small-town kid making YouTube covers to one of the biggest artists on the planet, and stood beside him through every controversy. Their partnership was so tight that many believed they'd never part ways. But in 2023, fans noticed something strange. Scooter was no longer listed on Justin's management team. No announcement, no statement, just silence. Then came the Twitch streams. When Justin started talking about people who had taken advantage of him and made money off his back, everyone knew exactly where the internet's focus would turn. He never mentioned Scooter by name, but his words sounded personal. "I was surrounded by people who didn't care about me, only about what I could do for them," he said during one late-night stream. "And I just got tired of pretending everything was okay." That single line sent social media into a frenzy. Fans started comparing timelines. The split from Scooter, the firing of his business managers, and now his emotional comments on Twitch.
10-year anniversary of the Purpose album. If you're watching, we love you guys. We're glad you're tuning in.
Walk up, start hugging.
Yeah, I always wanted a kid who wasn't like super shy and like didn't want to go to people and stuff, but he's like super like personable and open.
Industry insiders claimed that Justin's exit from Scooter's management came after years of tension. Some said Justin felt trapped, that he had no creative freedom and was constantly pushed into projects that didn't align with his mental health or personal goals. Others hinted that Scooter's growing empire, especially after managing artists like Ariana Grande and Demi Lovato, made Justin feel like he was no longer the priority. The speculation grew stronger when Justin unfollowed several people in Scooter's circle and stopped mentioning him altogether. The silence was deafening. For someone who used to thank Scooter in every acceptance speech, the sudden distance said a lot. On Twitch, Justin kept the tone calm but firm. He talked about setting boundaries and cutting off people who pretend to have your best interest, but only show up when it benefits them. The chat was flooded with comments. He's talking about Scooter, he's hurt, but healing. This is his way of letting it out. Whatever the truth is, the shift in their relationship marked the end of an era. The kid Scooter discovered had grown into a man who finally wanted control over his career, his money, and his peace. But as Justin tried to move forward, fans started wondering what he'd do next. Would he ever perform again, or was he done with the stage life entirely? His next revelation gave everyone a hint, and it came in the form of one major music festival. Justin casually dropped a piece of information that immediately set the internet off. Between songs and random chatter, he mentioned that his only performance next year would be at Coachella. Just one show, and nothing else. Fans in the chat froze for a second, wondering if he was joking. But Justin seemed serious, saying he was excited to perform in the desert, describing it as a dream he'd had for years. To most artists, that would sound like a huge announcement, but for Justin, it sparked mixed reactions. Some fans were thrilled he'd even be back on stage at all, while others felt disappointed. After all, this was the same Justin who used to sell out world tours and perform for packed stadiums across continents. One show felt small. It also raised questions. Why only one? People started digging again. The last time Justin tried to tour, the Justice World Tour, it ended up being canceled midway. He said it was for health reasons, both physical and mental, but it was clear the stress had taken its toll. Those close to him said that even though he missed performing, the idea of going on another long tour just didn't feel right for him yet. So when he said Coachella would be his one and only, fans figured it was his way of easing back into performing, doing something exciting but manageable. Still, speculation spread quickly. Some wondered if it was a hint at a full comeback, while others thought it was a one-time thing, more of a statement than a career move. He talked about performing both old hits and newer songs, planning to merge them into one big set. His excitement was obvious, almost boyish, as he described the feeling of performing under the desert sky. He even mentioned owning a house near the area and calling it one of his favorite places in the world. It wasn't just about music, it sounded like a place where he found peace. Fans couldn't help but notice how different his energy was when he talked about Coachella compared to everything else. He wasn't defensive or heavy, just genuinely happy. But that rare sense of calm didn't last long, because just a few streams later, Justin would unknowingly create one of the most viral moments of his entire Twitch era. And it had nothing to do with music. It all started when his physical therapist showed up on camera. Justin was live, talking to fans, strumming a few chords, and laughing with friends. Then, out of nowhere, his physical therapist entered the frame. What seemed like a harmless moment quickly turned into a viral storm. Viewers noticed how close she was standing next to him, with her hand resting on his back as she adjusted his posture. The chat went wild instantly, comments flooding in faster than he could read them. People began questioning the interaction, saying it felt too personal and a little too comfortable. Clips of the moment hit social media within minutes, and the reaction was intense. TikTok users stitched the clip with comments like, "If I were Hailey, I'd be fuming right now," and "No way, that's just therapy." Others joked that the therapist was having the time of her life. But not everyone saw it that way. A different group of fans quickly stepped in to defend him, pointing out that the woman in question wasn't some random person. It was Dr. Jocelyn Miranda, a well-known chiropractor who had treated both Justin and Hailey for years. She's worked with several celebrities, and the Biebers have both praised her professionalism before. To them, this was just a regular therapy session that happened to be caught on camera. Still, it was too late. The internet had already turned it into a full-blown debate. Some thought it was another sign of trouble in his marriage. Others argued it showed how Justin's new streaming habit was crossing into parts of his personal life that should have stayed private. The situation grew so loud that fans started tagging Hailey in posts, asking how she felt about the clip, something she, unsurprisingly, ignored. Justin didn't directly address the uproar, but his next few streams were noticeably more controlled. He avoided showing too much of his surroundings and even joked about needing better camera angles. It was clear he'd seen the backlash and wasn't interested in feeding it any further. What stood out most about this whole moment wasn't just the controversy itself, it was how fast things spiraled. In the past, Justin's team would have cleaned up a situation like this before it ever became news. Now, he was completely exposed, with no PR filter, no editing, and no script. Just him, a camera, and millions of people dissecting his every move. The therapist moment proved that this new Twitch version of Justin wasn't just casual entertainment, it was risky. And even though it gave fans unfiltered access, it also blurred the line between what was real and what should have stayed off screen. But the biggest shift was still to come. Because after all the online noise, Justin started showing signs that this whole streaming thing was about more than money, fame, or even connection. It was about reclaiming something he'd lost for years: control over his own story. By mid-2025, Justin's Twitch channel had become something bigger than anyone expected. What started as a casual place for him to hang out online turned into a space where he could rewrite how people saw him. No interviews, no paparazzi, no handlers, just him talking straight to fans. And it worked. His streams began trending almost weekly, with millions of views across YouTube and TikTok. Highlights. People noticed something different about the way he spoke. He wasn't the polished pop star rehearsing answers or dodging questions. He was real. He laughed at himself, made awkward jokes, forgot lyrics, and sometimes went completely silent midstream when he lost his train of thought. But instead of mocking him, fans appreciated it. After years of seeing him guarded and distant, this version felt human again. Behind the scenes, though, there were signs that this new independence came with its own cost. Justin had fired several members of his old management circle earlier that year. Sources close to him said he wanted less noise around his decisions and more direct connection with his audience. Even Hailey was reportedly supportive but cautious. She admired his effort to reconnect with fans, though she worried the unfiltered setup might invite unnecessary drama, which, given the therapist incident, wasn't an unfounded concern. Still, Justin didn't back down. In one stream, he said something that fans have since quoted everywhere. "I used to feel like I was being managed more than I was living. This feels like mine." It was a quiet statement, but it hit hard. For years, Justin had been shaped by teams: stylists, managers, producers, and label executives. Every public move seemed strategic. Twitch flipped that upside down. Here, he could play an unreleased song, talk about his mental health, or disappear midstream without explanation. The spontaneity was what made it work, and people were tuning in. Data from stream charts in June 2025 placed Justin among the top 20 most watched musicians on Twitch, averaging over 200,000 viewers per stream. Numbers typically reserved for gaming giants, not pop stars. What made it more interesting was his audience demographic. About 60% of his viewers were between 18 and 25, meaning many weren't the same fans who'd grown up with Baby or Sorry. He was reaching a new generation entirely. Music-wise, the change was clear too. Instead of working on a full album under a label, Justin started teasing singles made independently, talking openly about writing from home and recording with minimal equipment. One night, he played a raw demo live, just guitar and vocals, and the chat exploded. Within hours, fans had uploaded the clip everywhere, calling it his best song in years. Even though it wasn't an official release, the response showed something important. People weren't craving perfection from him anymore, they just wanted authenticity. And Justin finally seemed ready to give them that. The question that hung over everything, though, was what this meant for his future. Would he stay a Twitch-era artist, creating freely without label control? Or was this just a transition before another comeback? No one, not even Justin, seemed sure. But for the first time in a long while, he wasn't running from the spotlight or being controlled by it. He was steering it himself. And with Coachella on the horizon, fans could feel it. Whatever was coming next wasn't just another performance. It was Justin Bieber stepping back into the world on his own terms. The months leading up to Coachella were filled with silence from Justin. His Twitch streams slowed down, his Instagram went quiet, and fans started to wonder if the performance was even happening. Then, one random night in March 2025, he suddenly went live again. No title, no warning, just a faint "yo, what's up" as he strummed a guitar. It was his first stream in weeks, and he looked calm but focused. He didn't say much about Coachella directly, but there were hints everywhere. A whiteboard behind him had April 12 written on it, and a few cryptic notes like "set list" and "keep it simple." At one point, someone off camera asked if he was nervous, and he laughed. "Nah, just ready," he said quietly. "This one's for me." That line spread fast. Fans clipped it and posted it across TikTok and Twitter, using it as proof that Justin wasn't doing this for the fame. He was doing it because he wanted to. When April finally came, the hype was massive. Coachella organizers confirmed that Justin would perform during the second weekend, and within hours, tickets for that day sold out. Even people who weren't regular festival goers wanted to see what his return would look like. Would he bring dancers, flashy visuals, and pyrotechnics? Or would it be just him and a mic? The night of the show, the desert air was thick with anticipation. Thousands gathered around the stage, phones already raised. Then the lights dimmed, and a single spotlight cut through the darkness. Justin walked out wearing a plain white t-shirt, loose jeans, and a black cap. No entourage, no theatrics, just a stool, a mic, and an acoustic guitar. He opened with Ghost, and the crowd erupted. The emotion in his voice was raw, shaky at first, then steady as the song built. You could see it in his face. This wasn't about a comeback spectacle, it was about reclaiming joy in performing. From there, he moved through stripped-down versions of Peaches, Hold On, and even Baby, which he sang with a smirk, as if fully embracing the song that had both made and haunted him. Midway through the set, he introduced a new song called Halfway Home. He said he wrote it during one of his sleepless nights last winter, and it was about trying to find peace in the middle of chaos. The crowd went silent as he sang it. The lyrics were simple, almost fragile, talking about growing older, learning to let go, and realizing that fame doesn't heal you, but love and time do. The next morning, Halfway Home was everywhere online. Fans called it the realest song he's ever written. Even critics who dismissed his Twitch era as random experimentation admitted that the Coachella set was something special. Billboard described it as the most honest performance of Justin's career. Hailey was in the crowd that night, sitting off to the side near the sound booth. Cameras caught her wiping away tears during Halfway Home, though she smiled when he finished. It was one of the few public moments between them that didn't look strained or performative, just quiet understanding. When the show ended, Justin simply said, "Thank you for still being here," waved once, and walked off. No encore, no fireworks, just silence and cheers echoing into the desert night. That performance wasn't just a return, it was closure. The Twitch streams, the controversies, the online chaos, all of it led to that one calm moment on stage. For the first time in years, Justin wasn't being defined by rumors, PR statements, or headlines. He was defining himself. And as fans left the festival grounds, there was this shared feeling that maybe, just maybe, this wasn't Justin Bieber's comeback. It was his restart.